Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Morning Gardener Show, and I hope that all of you had a really good day. I hope you did. Um, I'm still growing seeds. I had a slight mishap uh, today, and what happened was I had some seeds that were, well, actually plants, and they got knocked over. Knocked over. They were grape, tomato plants, and these tomato plants got knocked over. And I did manage to get them back in the cup, but that's not good. So I'm waiting now to see how they will recover. So on that note, be careful walking around your tomato plants because you might knock them over, causing immense damage to the plants. I need to get an early variety uh, cherry tree, early variety cherry tree, because the ones I have now they do not produce uh, any fruit because they don't have a simple cherry that will produce with them. So what I'm going to do is I see there's a store online. Good evening, good evening. And once the seeds start producing, I'm going to have me more cherries. The question is, do I really want to do that? Because I have enough cherries with the two cherry trees that I do have that will produce. But when I put in the black tortellini, they simply don't really produce anything unless they have need advice on growing rosemary. Rosemary. I also need advice on growing rosemary. To be honest with you, that is a plant that I know that it doesn't like uh, to have its roots wet. It don't like to be wet all the time. It likes to dry out every once in a while and grow. But there's a good growing plant, good size to the plant once it gets going. You just have to basically set up the proper environment that it needs, and it'll take care of the rest. And as I said earlier, they don't like a lot of water. They don't like to be watered like the rest of the plants. They like to dry out a little bit, and then you water them. But that's as far as I give you on that. But I wish you much success with that rosemary plant because they are one of the top herbs that you can grow that you can either sell or you could use for your foods. People like that particular herb. Hello, how you doing, Mr. Price? Hello, this is Morning Gardener, and okay, here we go. Okay, Lena, all right. Just talking about seedlings and what we can do to grow them, basically. And I have some tomato plants that got knocked over. I mentioned that, and I am, in fact, recovering from that. The plant's doing well, but I'm just doing it day by day. I need the weather to start getting warm here so I can get these plants out of my house and outdoors and onto growing big, beautiful plants. Oh yes, I hope everyone's having a blessed evening. Actually, it's a beautiful. It's just a great deal to just know that once you get your garden up and growing and get it really doing well, you're gonna feel so much better through this whole ordeal that we're going through. The only thing I have going on right now with the garden is I have collard greens growing. They've been there all winter long, um, and it's just a beautiful deal. Mm. Miller's Garden. All right. Hello. How you doing? Hi, morning gardener. Just saying hello all. Hi all. Excuse me. Yes, people are stopping in to say hello. I got one thumbs up. I appreciate that very much. Got this loose sweater on up here. This is my favorite sweater. Just loose and comfortable. Just hugs you. You ever got one of them clothes that just when you're in the house, just it just knows you. Um, so yeah, I mean, what I'm doing now is got my seeds all started. They're growing pretty. I got the what they call this thing lettuce. Lettuce is a fast growing plant. I have a small container of lettuce right now that I want to just basically get them all going because they're doing real good now. And I think that what I'm going to do is put them in larger cups. I'm gonna start doing that today. The heavenly shades of light is falling. It's twilight time. Okay, got some snow. Got some snow today. Inches to put some seedlings on. Okay, all right. Yeah, got some snow today. My garden and kale is having been over the winter have started going going to seed. Uh, well, I mean, was this the first year for them? Because usually sometimes they'll do that. Their second year, they'll go right to seed. Hello, hello, how you doing there? So I can't manage to start until when it's raining and sprinkling. Okay, I see. Can I plant? Well, here's the deal. If you let's see, can I plant it? Yeah, I mean you can plant it, but is it comfortable to be out there in the rain? Uh, excuse me. Actually, what you do when you first put plants in, a lot of times, is that you put them in the ground and you give them a good watering so they can, um, put the soil at the base of the roots. Get out a lot of air in the root zone. But yes, you could plant them if it's raining. You can plant them. Best time to plant of seeds is, excuse me, best time to plant when you're putting plants in is when you got an overcast. It's not real hot. Some people do it early in the morning, in the evening. When you have a situation where it's just cool and not a lot of sun beaming down on them, because you want the plant to not have to go through any kind of stress, and give them a nice little excuse me, a nice little watering of either just water or you can add like a fish emulsion to it. You can do a homemade fertilizer, which is 1 part to 15 parts of fertilizer made from uh, grass clippings. Uh, you can do that, and you'll be just fine. Because plants do better when you give them just a little bit of water after planting them. Yeah, but don't be careful about one thing that most gardeners are guilty of, and that's absolutely over watering plants. It is definitely a no-no. Oh, anytime, anytime. Stop in anytime. By any chance, do you have a garden that you had for a while, or are you new to it, or you've been doing it for years? Hello, hello. Oh, okay. Well, congratulations to the getting in there. And remember, if you need any gardening advice, don't think second. Just give me a holler. You can do that through leaving a you can leave a what do they call it? You can leave a comment. You can leave a comment. You can leave a comment, and I will definitely get back in touch with you. I do that with all of my friends that are on the internet here, and I do the because it's a wonderful thing being able to help people, help them grow their own food, grow their own food. It's a feeling of independence when you go into a grocery establishment and you got pretty tomatoes. You look at theirs and you say, "I bet you mine tastes better than those because mine were grown naturally. These were grown fast and in a hurry, picked green, turned red, so that they would fool somebody on the shelf and they would buy it." But in the meantime, it's just incredible. I'm new to gardening. Okay, it's nothing wrong with that. I'm looking at a. Do you have any advice for watermelons? Yeah, watermelons are challenging to grow. They're challenging to grow. You can do it. They like lots of heat. Um, you plant them when your soil has got at least 70 degrees, very warm soil. Um, if you live in an environment where you have a very short season, you got to be mindful of that. You got to buy varieties that are suited for the area. One I like is called a sugar baby. It is a kind of like a smaller variety of watermelon. Excuse me, a smaller variety of watermelon. It does very well, um, and you want to make absolutely certain that you do everything you can to pay attention to it. It's a heavy feeder, meaning that your fertilizer's got to be on point. You got to know when to fertilize it. You got to know how much to fertilize. You do that, and you got to keep it watered. And that don't mean drown it. That means make sure that it doesn't dry out. It doesn't like being dry. Um, it's a space hog. It takes up space. The ones I grow are usually the Charleston Gray, Sugar Baby, and the other one Crimson. Those are very well-known watermelons. Easy to find the seeds. You can find them at any Walmart, Home Depot, or Lowe's. The seeds. Um, when you plant the seeds, if you do seeds, you want to do at least 4 or 5 seeds in that location. When they all come up, you pick the biggest and the boldest one, and you remove the others by just clipping them off with a pair of scissors, and leave the biggest one to grow. Plant them at least 3 feet apart. If you're going to do one pile here, one pile there, one pile here, and that way you have three different varieties, or you could have the same variety but grow 3 different plants. Um, the watermelons will grow vines. They will try to grow more fruit than they're supposed to grow or can handle. So a lot of people, what they do is they do a pruning on the end. They'll say, okay, I'm going to take this vine and I'm gonna cut it off at the tip where it's growing out. And once they get about 2 or 3 melons on that vine, they'll make sure the other ones don't take. They'll either remove them or whatever. It's called pruning. Let's see now what we got. Sugar baby watermelons also come in a bush variety. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Absolutely. No question about it. Couldn't argue with that point at all. Oh, I'm sorry. I have a package being delivered. It's a furnace blower motor I really need bad, and they saying that they just shipped it. It just went in the mail, and I'm just happy about that, so I can get more heat in this house. Let's see. And I'm gonna save a ton of money because I'm doing the repair myself. Let's see. When should they get their true leaves? Okay. Now I think you're talking about a watermelon, right? That's hard to say. Depends on how much uh, warmth that you have in the area where you're growing them. That's a big part of it. How well the soil is. Well, good soil. You have good soil, and you want to make absolutely certain that you know how much how fertile the soil actually is. What I mean. So it's hard, anywhere from 7 to 10 days, something like that. It might be shorter than that. It might be shorter than that actually. You put heat underneath them those pots. They might come up in 5 days. But then once the true leaves start to come on, you'll see a second set of leaves. If you're doing them in pots, then you want to transfer those over to the garden. That's one way of doing it. Another way people do is they plant them in the place that they're going to actually grow at. They don't care for a lot of weeds growing around them, so if you have weeds in the location, just back them off about 15 inches. You know, by pulling them out of the ground all around that plant. If you really want to speed up the process, you'll get you some garden fabric, you know, black, and you'll put it down, and you'll open up a hole, and you'll put them in that hole, and it'll keep the weeds back, and it'll also keep the the soil warm, and you'll like the result of that as well. Also, try to bend the soil by adding large amounts of organic matter to it, maybe some organic fertilizer, and just mix it into the hole that you're going to plant the seed in. And once you do that, 8, 10, 12 inches deep, mix the soil up real good. If it's clay soil that you're dealing with, you want to use either a perlite in that one hole with some peat moss and uh, some what you call compost or cow manure or something like that. They are heavy feeders. They eat a lot of food. Watermelons do. And they do that because they have to produce this big piece of fruit, maybe one or two of them, maybe four of them, depending on what variety you get. And they are producing all of those tiny seeds that are in the watermelons, hundreds of them. And if you want to save the seeds, so that if you have a watermelon, say for instance, you really like it will grow better next year in that soil because it gets familiar with the DNA of the soil. All right, let's see. I mean, Rose. What's it? I mean, Rose. Already. Will that work? Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. I hope that when you did it, see what you can do when you make rows. You pick out the areas where you're gonna put the watermelons at, and you can fertilize that soil a few days ahead of time. I like to do mine, start the fertilization of my soil in the fall. I do it in the fall. I put down all this organic matter, leaves, uh, in that all over the ground, and I let that rot down into the ground. And then I know that the all winter long that it's been composting right there on that soil, and that makes that soil, uh, in better condition to support a plant like watermelon. Watermelon likes a rich. Did I say rich? I said rich, fertile soil. That's what it likes. It don't like soil that it doesn't have the nutrient levels to produce. Because if it don't have it, you will produce a vine, a tiny piece of fruit, and then the time of the year be over with, and you'd be like, wow, I didn't get any watermelon. And if you're real smart when you water, you'll water only when the plant needs it. That's how you get plants to produce fruit. If you water them all the time, or you like somebody say, water them twice a week, water them 3 times a week. No, you stick your finger in that soil. When that soil's getting dry, and the leaves indicate to you that they need to be watered by flopping a little bit. They'll flop like that a little bit. When you see them do that, you want to make absolutely certain that you water. That will cause your plant to go into panic mode and say, oh my God, I've got to make certain that my DNA is still left on this planet if I die. And that's what your plants do. Once you do that, they will produce your fruit. But if you water and water and water and feed and water all the time, constantly, um, you want to make certain that you are doing the right thing. Now, pollination is also a big part of this. Make absolutely certain that you got some bees around somewhere. Um, and if you don't, find out if you can find out, learn a little bit about what you call hand pollinating. Because on the watermelon plant, you have a male and you have a female on the watermelon plant. And if you have to get a Q-tip and go from the male to the female to the male to the female, if you have to do that, then do that because you need to. When them yellow flowers appear, you need to pollinate them. If you don't have any bees, if you don't pollinate them, they'll grow and they'll drop off, and you'll never see a piece of fruit. All right, good people, do me a favor. I'm gonna go brush my teeth and everything. That's just something I do about this time. And I want to make certain that we left and we're having a good time. And remember, save me as your subscribe to my channel. If you subscribe to my channel, every single time I go up, you'll see a notice come up. Boop. It'll say Morning Garden Show, or it'll say, how would you like to grow this? And you'll see my face up there. Yeah. You'll see me up there, and then you'll say, okay, he's online. I'm going to go and pick with him a little bit or give him some information, or I'm going to get some information from him. You're quite welcome anytime. Anytime. I like to see people into gardening. Now, do you have any videos of your garden? Yes, no, no, yes, no, yes, yes, no. I'm on a boo. We do, we do, we do, we do. Where do we do? All right, good people. This has been the Morning Gardener Show, and we thank you very much for tuning in. Have a good day, and remember to keep on growing. Yes.